Hello and welcome to the video tutorial Inserting and Cropping a Point Cloud. In this video, we will introduce the methods and techniques to quickly and accurately insert, move, rotate, and crop a point cloud. Since this is the first step in drafting a building from a point cloud, it is essential it is done accurately and with the correct settings. We'll be using some basic AutoCAD functions as well as some custom Lisp routines to make things go a little bit quicker. Let's begin. Here we have our contoured template with the building address, floor number, and north arrow already set up for us. The first step is going to be to use the Point Cloud Attach command. This dialog box will appear where you'll need to navigate to the correct folder. In this example, I have the files stored on my desktop, but you'll be using Dropbox to locate the correct building address. The point cloud data is stored in the same location under each building address. You'll need to navigate to Showcase, the address, Reality Capture, and finally select the merged file. When this second dialog box appears, you will need to confirm some settings. You almost never need to change anything here, but it's a good idea to confirm them. You'll want to specify the insertion point on screen. You will never want to change the scale. Make sure this is set to 1 and nothing else. Rotation is another you'll want to specify on screen. And finally, make sure the Zoom to Point Cloud box is checked. When the dialog box disappears, you can either click or type 00 to insert it. After the point cloud is loaded, you will notice something strange. The XREF is inserted very far away from our template and title block. We simply need to move the point cloud back inside of our title block template. Here I'm using the Zoom Previous command to quickly get back into view of the point cloud. From here, it's as simple as using the Move command, clicking the center of the point cloud, and typing in 00 to get it back into the area we want it. Now I'll fine-tune the location of the point cloud so it sits about in the center of our title block template. If it's a very large building, you'll need to move the left side of the title block border to be able to accommodate the extra size. Next, we will want to change some of the point cloud settings to get better view of the data and to make it easier to draft from. The level of detail slider sets the density of points that can be displayed. The point size slider will make each point in the point cloud larger or smaller. I usually keep these at 1 and 9 or 10. These will have a direct effect on your computer performance, so you may need to change these to speed up your computer. One setting I always change is the transparency, which I set to 50, but you can use anywhere between 25 and 50. Now I'll rotate the point cloud so that the building is as straight as possible and we can create nominal plans. I'll use the line command to draw along one of the longest perimeter walls. I'll use this as a reference line to rotate the point cloud along it. As long as you have ortho set to on, you can finish out the command and the point cloud will be nice and straight. Make sure to draw your lines as close to the point cloud data as possible. This will ensure we capture the extents of the building. When you are finished rotating the point cloud, you want to check and make sure the point cloud is indeed straight. I'll do this by zooming in to one side of the building. Here I'm using one of our custom Lisp routines that draws an X line, sets the transparency of the line, sets the layer to misc, and then returns to the previously set layer. I found this very useful in verifying walls that should be aligned and when checking perimeters. Verifying the rotation of the point cloud is as easy as drawing a horizontal X-line and a vertical X-line along some of the longer walls of the building. You'll want to check a few to make sure everything is good to go. Taking your time on this step is very important as this sets up the rest of the building to be as nominal as possible. It is a little difficult to see my X-line on the screen recording, but on my screen it shows up very well, even with the transparency of the line. Occasionally, you will come across irregularities in the building's construction. This happens more than you think, which is why we want to create nominal plans. Because the point cloud data is so accurate, it will pick up the wall exactly as it is built. Here you can see I've drawn an X-line from the bottom side, and at the top it isn't quite resting on my line. To determine if the building is angled slightly, or if it's just poor construction, I'll pan along this side and check to see where things go wrong. After checking the entire side of the building, I've determined that most of the wall rests along my line, and I can leave the rotation of the point cloud. Don't forget to change the layer. It's at this stage where we can start making our crops of the point cloud. When you click on it, you will see it change tabs automatically. Aside from changing the point cloud settings here, you can also set crops and colorize it. I'll use the rectangle option and do a general crop around the building to sift out any extra data that I don't need to see. I'll change to a side view and move the point cloud below the Z-axis. This will make selecting the building's line work easier, since the point cloud will be below it. A good rule of thumb is to have the point cloud be about 100 feet under the Z-axis. When making your crops, you want to have the perimeter pictures open so you can determine what to draft. In this photo, you can see that there is a concrete base with windows on top. In this particular building, the window system actually sits outside of the main perimeter wall. You want to set your crop to include everything on the floor. The best way I've found to do this is to draw a line just above the finished floor and copy it up 7 feet. This will ensure I don't miss anything, while getting the best representation of all the walls. Use the rectangle option again, and use those reference lines you made to crop the floor. Next, you'll want to colorize the point cloud to make it easier to see. This is all completely personal preference, but I like to use the elevation tab and green. It's just easier on my eyes. You can play around with the gradient and the height intervals to fine-tune this. Again, this is all optional and not necessary to draft the building. Once you have your crop and have it colorized, you should save your crop state. This will make it much easier during the drafting phase to be able to quickly switch back and forth between different crops and see different aspects of the building. After you have your first crop finished, it's time to make any additional crops to make drafting easier. You can make as many as you like, but make sure you have at least one 7-foot crop for each floor. Use the Uncrop All button to reset the point cloud crop state, and repeat the previous steps as many times as you like. Because this building's windows system is unique and sits outside the building perimeter wall, I want to make sure I have a special crop set just for those windows. Try to always get in the habit of typing in your dimensions. Don't just click in random spaces. This will ensure you always have nominal dimensions and everything is round and nice and neat. Here, I've sped the video up to get through some of the more repeated steps. I'm making all the crops I need to draft the building, so I don't have to do it later. Now that all of my crops are finished, you can see how easily it is to move between the different crop states. This gives you a great picture of the building for each floor and each area you'll be drafting. This concludes our video tutorial. For the next phase, see our second video, Setting the Building Perimeter.